Let's get you set for some Final Four action coming up this weekend. I'm Pete Mundo. We are Heartland College Sports, where we cover the Big 12 Conference. So, yes, we obviously have a dog in the fight. But first and foremost, Houston back in the Final Four is obviously great for them. First time in 4 years. And great for the Big 12. First time in 3 years since KU in 22. And now, most importantly, we do not have a week of the SEC through ESPN patting itself on the back, because I would kill myself if 3 SEC teams were in the Final Four. So thankfully, we do not have to deal with that. That's number one. Number two, Houston is playing some of the best basketball in the entire nation, and they are not getting nearly enough credit for it. Houston has lost one game since the calendar flipped to December, and that one game was by a single point to Texas Tech. Houston is the hottest team in college basketball by a mile, and nobody's talking about it. It is crazy when you think about how well this team has been playing and the fact that they just are not getting nearly as much love as these other teams are in this Final Four. And listen, I think Kelvin Sampson is fine with that. I think Kelvin Sampson actually likes that. I think he prefers a team that is maybe not getting the respect that it should be getting. I'm guessing he's sitting there saying, you know what, this is good. I'm cool with that. But this is going to be a great game on Saturday. It may be the best game of the NCAA tournament, or one of them. There have not been a lot of great games, let's be honest. So it wouldn't take much for this to become the best game of the NCAA tournament. But what you've got here is the best defense in America in the Houston Cougars going up against a top 10 offense in Duke. And that's what makes this game just absolutely fantastic, because you're now looking at this and saying, which one prevails? Do you want Houston's defense in this game, or do you want Duke's offense? See, in a game like this, I always want the defense. And here's why. I want the defense because Final Fours are notoriously difficult from a shooting perspective, because you're playing in a football stadium. So your sight lines are different than they are in a basketball arena. That's a big deal. So right out of the gates, the offense is at a little bit of a disadvantage. And that's something that, you got to take into consideration. And it's something that people don't really think about when you look at some of these games. So that's important here. It's really important. And that's why, especially with basically a full week to prepare for Cooper Flag, this game sets up very well for the Houston Cougars from that perspective. If they had to play Duke on a 48-hour turnaround, I'd be less confident here. But I get Kelvin Sampson, that defense, this unit, and it is very much a unit, a team, in the classic sense of the term. You don't see a lot of these anymore in college basketball. Houston has that. Getting a week to prep for how to handle Cooper Flag in this offense, sign me up. I got the better coach. I got the more cohesive team. I get the better defense. I like Houston in this game. And if there's a part of this game that also will be something to watch, it's who shoots the three ball better. Now, these two teams are both in the top 10, top 11 technically in the country in three-point shooting percentage. Houston's number 4, Duke is number 11. But there's a big difference here. Duke has taken over 1,000 three-pointers on the season. That's over 200 more than Houston. So they are far more likely to just be bombs away from three-point range. Houston is much more particular. They're much pickier when it comes to their usage of the three-point shot. So that's something that when it comes to how this game is determined, Houston's got to shoot well from three. They don't need to throw up 25 of them. They don't have to do that. If they go 9 of 19 from three-point range, I like them in this game. If they shoot then 45, 50% from the field, they're going to be in a great spot to win. If Houston keeps this game in the 70s, mid to low 70s, they've got this thing. They're going to the championship game on Monday night. That's how I feel Houston can pull out a victory against the Duke Blue Devils, and I believe that they will pull off this victory against the Duke Blue Devils. I've got Houston winning the game by a final score of 75-71 over Duke. Winning outright, obviously covering a spread. They're an underdog in this game by about 4.5 points, last I checked. So I would take Houston to cover. Obviously, I would take them to win outright. And, I would also lean towards the over. Right now, the over-under is sitting at 135.5. I know that Houston's going to want to keep this thing low scoring. That's how they win the game. But I think they'll be able to get theirs against this Duke team as well. And they don't mind playing this thing into the low to mid 70s. So I would lean for the over at 135.5, where I see it right now. It opened up at 136.5 and it came down a point. So the early money came in on the under. But at a $135.5, I'd lean the over. If the under hits, Houston's going to the championship game. But I think they can still win when the over hits. I believe that's how this team is built. If you're just joining us, please do hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel here at heartlandcollegesports.com. It does help us tremendously. I just wanted to hop on here and give you a preview and a prediction of this Final Four matchup between Houston and Duke on Saturday. I will roll with the Cougars going to a championship game and a 75-71 victory. And who knows what happens? I know Kelvin Sampson has said he's coming back. If I'm Kelvin Sampson with this team and I win a natty and I'm going to be 70 years old this year and I've got the insanity that is now the transfer portal and NIL, and I know that my son is waiting in the wings to take over the program, I might sail off into the sunset. Just something to think about. Jay Wright did it after he got to a Final Four in 22. He said, I know where this is trending. I don't want to be a part of it. I'm out. And if you can't go out on top, the next best thing to going out with a national championship is a Final Four. And that's when Jay stepped away. If you're Kelvin Sampson and you win the whole thing and you win it with this team, and it's one of the few teams that you feel like exists in today's college basketball climate, because every year it just feels like a group of guys you got to figure out how to mesh with the way the sport's going. Houston is a bunch of dudes. They're grown men. Okay? They are going to be able to handle what Duke throws their way. And, I don't think they're going to put one person on Cooper Flagg. I think it's going to be a group effort. There'll be a lot of switching. They'll try to confuse Cooper Flagg, and they'll put different guys on him with different strengths. And that's how this ultimately is going to play out. And it will be frustrating for Cooper Flagg as the night goes on. I'm Pete Mundo. We're Heartland College Sports. We are grateful that you are here. Please do make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you're a College Sports fan, especially if you're a Big 12 fan. And go check out our forums as well. They're free. We'll see you on there. Just go to heartlandcollegesports.com and click on that forums tab at the very top. You guys have a great rest of the day. Go Houston. Go Big 12. We'll talk to you soon at Heartland College Sports.